So guys, thanks very much. It's great to be here again. I always love coming to talk to you at the school. I'm from the class of 2000, so quite a long time ago. And I'm all good? Yeah, it's because I'm short, I know it's hard. That actually obviously isn't me, that's Elton John. But I'm going to use the man who took the photograph of Elton John as inspiration for today's presentation, okay? And the man that took that shot is this chap. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a guy by the name of David LaChapelle. And you shouldn't be confusing him with this chap. This chap is Dave Chappelle. It's very different. Both of them, I think, are geniuses, have got incredible minds, and I think use their creativity in a very interesting way. Obviously in two very different ways, but in a very interesting way. But we're talking about David LaChapelle. So every image you're going to see in this presentation takes inspiration from this man. And he's an unbelievable photographer. He's become a director, producer, but kind of is known for his photography. Okay. And he's shot unbelievable people, okay, in his career. You know, there's all Tupac, there's Kim Kardashian, Muhammad Ali, Travis Scott, Paris Jackson, etc., David Bowie. So he's got a great eye and he shoots unbelievable imagery, okay? And he's actually shot the covers for basically every global magazine you can ever think of, from Rolling Stones to GQ, Vanity Fair. It's kind of what he does. That's his thing, okay? And he started his career, many, many years ago, actually shooting for this guy over here on the bottom right. You might recognize him, Andy Warhol. He started his career working for him, and they had a magazine. And when he started his career, he said to Andy, like, well, what do you really want me to do? I think he was like 17 years old. And he said, I don't give a shit as long as I look beautiful. And that was his brief, which I love. So he started off his career doing that. And in 1995, he shot this iconic campaign for Diesel, for their campaign at the time called Successful Living. And there was obviously two sailors, two men kissing, 1995. Back in that day was quite a provocative image, and there was a lot of controversy about it. And it sort of put him on the map. And if you had to define him, and I haven't defined him, I kind of looked up what people say about him. This is what they say about this man, David LaChapelle. Satirical, outrageous, bizarre, and a surrealist. Okay, if you look at those words, you think to yourself, like, how do I feel about those words? You know, they're kind of quite avant-garde words. Would I associate those words with myself? And I certainly wouldn't. I can't say I'm that, but that's what he's described as, okay? And I thought it's interesting, and you'll see a lot of quotes coming through in my presentation today. What's interesting is how he thinks about the world, and I'm gonna orientate us around how we should be thinking about the world and what you bring to the world. That's ultimately what today is about. And he said some really interesting things. The first thing he said is, I never wanted to be famous, but I always wanted to take famous photographs. And I think in you and your careers, and that's what we're talking about today, the thing is never to be famous. The thing is to do famous work. It's the thing that you produce which ultimately makes you famous. So to chase fame for fame's sake is never a career option. Never ever do that. It's not going to get us anywhere. And that's what he said and what he believes. And he also said the following. He said, you know, I'd rather die than be a serious artist or be a fake artist. And you've got to really be clear, like he is, on your authentic self. He knows what he is. He knows what he stands for, and he knows what he doesn't stand for. And I think it's really important that when you start to think through your careers, be clear on what you are, okay, just like he did. And he ultimately transcended. He took his power of creativity, transcended that out of photography into being a director, into a producer. It's an amazing stuff in his career with the power of creativity. And he said, you know, he's learned how to take the tools of photography and use them to sell ideas. And that's ultimately why all of you are in this room. You hopefully love ideas, and you need to make those ideas happen. That's the thing. And that's what he does. And he's very clear on what exactly he is. Okay, he says, I'm a photographer, period. I love photography, the immediacy of it. I like the craft, the idea of saying, I am a photographer. Okay. And you have to ask this question of yourselves. Who are you? He's very clear on what he is. And you have to be clear on what you are. Now, it's a very unfair question, because when I was sitting in your seat, if someone asked me that, I'd say, drunk freeloader, here for a jewel, basically on my parents' money. Okay, that's probably what I've said I am. Okay, so don't worry, don't force too much introspection on yourselves to answer this question deeply and meaningfully. But it is a question you have to think through in your start of your career. Because if you start to think it through, you'll be clearer on what you want to do. If you're clear on who you are. Okay, so don't get too deep, but just let it percolate in your mind. You know, you've got a couple of more months till you kind of get out there, some of you. Just start to think that question through, okay? Because ultimately, you have to, in my estimation, find your creative power. And once you've found it, you have to do another thing. You have to channel your creative power, okay? Because that's why you're all in this room. Okay, you're not here to become bankers. Okay, you're here because you have something in you called creativity, and whether you deploy it as a media strategist, as an art director, or as a suit, or as a client, you have it in you. The madness of creativity and the beauty of creativity rests within all of you. That's why you're sitting in this room. Okay, it's really important that you understand that. And that's the thing that unifies all of you, and that is actually your creative power. Okay, and there's a trick with creative power. This is an image of plutonium, 94. There's a trick with creative power, is that can be an amazing force like plutonium that can power cities with a mere handful of it, power countries with a few kilograms. But creativity can also be a destructive force. Okay, it can break things. It can create egos. It can make you lose touch with reality. And you've got to be clear on who you are, what you're going to do, and understanding you have this creative power to deploy it wisely. Okay, it's a really important thing. Creativity it's one of those eternal sources of power. It's like love or knowledge. You always have it, you can always give it. You go through waves with creativity, but ultimately it's renewable energy. It's a force that you have in you. Okay, and you've got to acknowledge that and celebrate that. And we're very clear on how we deploy creativity in our company. Okay, we want this creativity to help us become the most desired creative company on the African continent. That's what we want to do as an agency. And we understand that to do that with that power of creativity, we've got to do a lot of things, but we've got to do them very simply. If you think about where the world is today, it's a mess. It's confusing, it's complicated, it's fragmented. There's a lot of stuff to deal with. And we believe as a company that if we can create these beautifully simple solutions for this increasingly complex world, we would have done our job and we would have led with purpose. Okay, that's how we are thinking about creativity. And the thing is, though, a company is not an inanimate object. It's fueled by people. And we are looking for people that are different, that are young, that are diverse, and importantly, are world-class. Just because we happen to be born in this country shouldn't give us any kind of inferiority complex within the world. You now all compete on the global stage. We all now compete on the global stage. We are world beaters. Never let anyone tell you that we are not. Okay, just happen to be at the tip of Africa. Okay, that's all. So you've got to have in your head that you are world class. Okay, so then you will be. And, you know, we're really clear on the kind of people and the values that we want to have in our company. Okay, so when you talk about bravery, you actually need to be intolerant of average. That's important for us. Average is the enemy. We want people to be intolerant of average. When you talk about bright, we want people to have an interesting or inquisitive or inspiring point of view at any given moment. Okay, if you're coming into a meeting and you're quiet, I don't need you in the meeting. If you're coming in and not giving me something that's interesting or inspirational, well, what are you doing there, really? Okay, so you have to, when you know who you are and what you want, you find your voice. It gives you confidence. Okay. So it's really, really important. But ultimately, you guys are going to go out. You're not only going to join our company, you're going to get into our industry, right? You're going to go on client side or media agencies or research agencies or creative agencies, whatever it may be. So I thought I'd give you 10 quotes for successful living. Okay. Let me just make sure I get that to work for us. Or more importantly, 10 quotes for successful careers. Because that's ultimately what you want to have in this industry, hopefully. So here's the first one. And I think it's true of life and it's true of our industry and it will be true of you. What screws up people the most in life is the picture in our head of how it's supposed to be. I remember sitting here and I had 3 choices in my head. There had to be King James, Ogilvy, or Joe Public. Those are going to be my 3. And I was rejected from Ogilvy twice. Okay, fantastic. Then I eventually joined Ogilvy as an intern. And the picture you have in your head, it won't happen. So liberate yourself to that possibility that it won't happen as you see it, but it will happen eventually. Okay, it's really important. Don't get stressed out about making the right decision. I have a firm belief that probably nothing in life can be undone after a bad, everything in life can be undone after a bad decision. Just move on. And you're all young enough to make lots of bad decisions. Actually, it's totally cool. Great thing, eh? So that's the first thing. The picture in your head is probably not going to be the thing that you get. Don't stress out about it, okay? But there's a really important thing is the decision, and the most difficult thing in life and in your career is the decision to act. Okay, there's a lot of people that don't want to cross the line in their careers ever. Just hesitant, worried, not confident. And once you make that decision, it's just then about being tenacious. Just be tenacious. In this industry, tenacity is a brilliant thing, and you need it. There's a lot of people in our industry that tell you how crap things are all the time. It's called creative reviews. Okay, it's built into our agencies. This thing is rubbish. We need to fix it. It's like if you're not tenacious, you're not going to make it. Okay, so everything you do has to be orientated around making a decision and being tenacious around that decision. Okay, because this is a really important one. You are going to have to attempt the impossible as frequently as possible. Okay, you don't want to attack problems that just are possible problems. You want to attack problems that are impossible problems. Okay, you want to cut your teeth on things that you think can't be solved, not things that are already solved and kind of pushing the peanuts down the road. So you have to confront the impossible every single day. Okay, it's always going to be a reason not to do something in your careers. You have to put that aside. Okay, it's easy just to do what's possible, very easy. But if you want to be clear about yourself and having a successful career, you have to attempt the impossible as frequently as possible. Okay, really, really important. But what I've seen a lot of the time is kind of a lot of bravado. It's cool, we like that. But smarts comes before hustle. Okay, hustle is important, but hustle is a very thin veneer on your career. Hustling and finding angles and networking, these are good things, but you have to have smarts. You've got to think and engage your brain around how you want to do things. Okay, it's really, really important that. Okay, hustle's cool, but smarts comes first. Okay, so I always say I just want to employ thinkers. Okay, people that can use this thing here and unlock it are brilliant. That's what we need. I don't need hustlers, I need thinkers. Then the thinkers can hustle. Okay, and it's an important one for you to think through, because in our industry and in life, you have to learn and distinguish who is gold and who's gold-plated. Okay, gold sits deep within the earth, kilometers down, takes time to make. Okay, and you have to go down deep and find it. That's what gold is. When you bring it up, it's precious, it's solid, it means something. Gold plate is you just take that thing and just smash it on whatever you want. Okay. Don't be in your careers gold plated. It's very easy to jump and thing and, get onto the next thing, the trend and this and this. You have got to unlock gold in yourself. Okay. And then you've got to bring that to the companies that you're going to join. Okay. Be very clear on what people promise you in this industry and what you put up with in this industry. Okay. So when you scratch gold plated away, just left with lead. Okay. So it's really, really important. There's a distinguishing between what's gold and gold plated. Okay. And I think that comes with a very specific attitude. Okay. And where the world is right now, it can get very heavy. We can all get very negative. We can all lose hope. What am I going to do? We can all get very angry. I'm not on Twitter. I refuse to go there. It's just poisonous. I'm not going to do it. So you have to make a decision in your careers how you're going to distance yourself from negativity. Okay. It's very easy to play into the negative, and you're going to let yourselves down. You will not unleash the best self. Okay, so make a conscious decision to distance yourself from negativity. It's a great attitude to have a successful career. And the thing that I find a lot of the time is that you can distance yourself from negativity. And it's like my kids tell me, just have an attitude of gratitude, Dad. Keep your gratitude higher than your expectations. Okay, that's the formula for a successful life, actually. Your gratitude is higher than your expectations. And it actually is the formula for a successful career. Okay, we're fortunate enough in our company, through the height of a global pandemic, to have preserved 100% of people's jobs and 100% of their salaries. Okay, I'm very, very grateful. I go down on my knees and pray every morning and say, thank you, God, for giving us that blessing, because it is a blessing. Okay, it's not easy to have a job in this country. Okay, you've got to start off your careers with gratitude in your hearts around what you can do and what you can bring. Okay, I think that everyone in the world has just got these mad expectations of each other these days. It's like, I expect this. I expect you to do this. Yeah. It's like shouting at each other about all these expectations. You don't really apply that to yourself sometimes, right? So I think when you start in your career, just be grateful you have a job. There's a lot of people outside of this door, these doors, that have no chance of a job. Okay, that's step one. You've got this amazing superpower. It's called creativity. There's a lot of people outside these doors that don't have it either. Okay, and people tell me robots and AI are going to take over the future. I don't believe that at all. Creativity is the one thing that cannot be done by machines. Just cannot. We can replicate it, we can try, but that's our thing. That's our DNA. And you are growing it in this place. Isn't that amazing? That's what you have. It's just in you. You don't even have to go find it. So I think that's really, really important. And the thing you're going to have to do in your careers, very important to understand, is that words are the currency of ideas, and they have the power to change the world. So you have to choose your words precisely. When you start a company, you go into a meeting, doing a presentation, words are important. And if you choose to use the wrong words, you're going to get the wrong outcome. So you have to think very clearly about the words you're using. You've got to think about those words translating into unbelievably big ideas that change things. Okay, it's an important thing. That's what brutal simplicity of thought is. If you can write it in a page, that's nice. If you could please give it to me in a paragraph. Thanks for the paragraph. I'm looking for a sentence. That's amazing, that sentence. I need it in a word. That's brutal simplicity of thought. The process of distillation and reduction gives clarity and it gives confidence. We're going to talk in big words and lots of stuff all the time. We're going to confuse ourselves and others. It's not going to work. Okay, so that's important. Words are the currency of ideas. But here's a very important thing. In an agency, you don't get paid for having ideas. You get paid for making them happen. There are thousands and millions of ideas that are floating around in this world right now. No one cares because they didn't get made. I've got a great idea. Fantastic. When are you going to make it? Because it's an intangible thing. And that's what we're in the business of, intangible things. And our job is to make them tangible. That's what creativity is about. Otherwise, it's art. I don't know. I don't even know what it is. At least art you can paint. So ideas are fantastic. I have an idea. I hear this all the time. I had a great idea. Awesome. Well, now let's test what this thing is and let's decide to make it. So you've got to make things. Okay. So I always hear that creatives have portfolios. I'm a suit. I have my own portfolio. It's 20 years old now. I have it in my office. The work I make, I put into it. As a media person, as a suit, do you have portfolios? What is your life's work? It's not for creatives to make ads. Creativity, as I understand it, is made with lots of people. So you have to make things. Okay, so get a portfolio. I've never seen a suit come to me and say, this is the portie that I've done. It's interesting. I'll give that person a job. Okay. And finally, this isn't my quote. You will excuse the language of it. Good things come to those who go out and fucking earn it. That's the truth of life. You have to go and earn it. Okay. Dreams work when you work. Simple as that. You have to work harder than anyone else on this planet. That's how it works. Okay. If you check out at 5 o'clock, good luck. If you're not busy, good luck with that career. If you feel like you can just move around a bit, good luck with that career. Okay. You have to go full force, all in, every day, 24/7, and you've got to love it. You've got to love advertising and creativity and ideas. If you don't love it, go tell Di, the back there, today that you're checking out of this course and you're giving your parents and your bursaries and all that money back. Because I promise you, you will be dead in the water. If you don't love it, love ideas. If you don't love ideas, forget it. That's it, guys. That's the secret of it. It's the secret of, I guess, life and the secret of our industry. You have to love ideas. You have to love creativity. And the best thing is, you have it already. It's in you, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Be studying like I did, a BCom, ecos and accounts, which I failed 3 times to get nowhere. Okay. You'll be working in a bank. Nothing wrong with banks, they're organized, but we have a different mission on this planet. Let's think about that, because ultimately, the question I asked in the beginning, you have to think about yourselves. You're going to go, who am I? Don't stress, as I said, don't worry. It's not about deep introspection. You've got to think it through. I think there's a lot of pointers I've given you already around what unites you. Just use that as the start. You've got to think about who you will be. And then you've got to come find out. This man here, shit, he made me put this blatant plug-in this presentation. It was all going so well. I was like, it's all yellow. He's like, put in this pink thing. So you go speak to that man over there, Ashik. He's going to do our internship program. It starts on the 1st of October. And let's see. Let's see if you can bring that to bear in our company. And there's lots of other brilliant companies around in the country at the moment. So, and to them, pick a few, get on it, and good luck.